Hey guys, Ezra here and welcome back to another movie review. And today I have a very exciting movie review for you guys, because we are reviewing a Jackie Chan movie called The Shadow's Edge. Now, Jackie Chan is obviously one of my favorite actor ever. I was a big fan of Jackie Chan since my elementary school day, and I was like, it was such a cool and fun time to watch his movie because like his stunt and his action sequence are crazy, and the way he used the environment obviously is amazing. So like I love Jackie Chan. And of course, like the recent issue, I guess, for like the recent Jackie Chan movies that, well, sometimes, the Jackie Chan movie that you watch are fun, but they're not exactly memorable. But I am happy to report, at least for me, The Shadow's Edge might be the best modern Jackie Chan movie because the action is incredible, the story is good, but there is some problems. It's not perfect. This movie is not perfect by any means. But it was a good time. It was really, really fun. The action is really insane, and it was actually memorable. And I actually have the feeling I want to rewatch this movie again because there are other modern Jackie Chan movies that has been released. I was like, okay, it's a fun time, but I don't have any drive to rewatch the movie. I thought it was like, yeah, it's fine, and the action sequences are not that insane, which I understand because Jackie Chan is like 71 now. But my God, man, The Shadow Edge is just so amazing because this movie is written and directed by Larryyang, and Yang actually directed a previous Jackie Chan movie called Right On, and that movie is basically honoring all the stuntmen and then honoring Jackie Chan's life as well. It's like a documentary of Jackie Chan's life, and his perspective in modern cinema, which I love that movie. So he's reteaming with Jackie Chan, and Larryyang just completely make a different movie where this is like a big budget action movie. And again, I don't have any expectation, to be honest, watching this movie because like I know it's Jackie Chan. I know that the action sequence is gonna be fun, but my God, I was not prepared to see how big this movie was. Because this movie tells a story for basically the Macau police officer brings the tracking expert out of retirement to help them catch a dangerous group of professional thief. One of the thief leader is actually called Shadow. At least like his surname is Shadow, and he was played by tonykafaileung. And this is not to be confused with the Tony Leung from Shang-Chi, because that's a different Tony Leung. there is two Tony Leung, So this is a different Tony Leung, and he is amazing in this movie, because let's start with the positive aspect, shall we? Let's get it out of the way. The action sequence, like I said before, is absolutely insane. Like how massive this movie was, and how long the action sequence was. Because like the recent Jackie Chan movie, the action sequence were like not that long and they're not that memorable. They kind of just like, yeah, whatever, is there for fun. And Jackie Chan is obviously doing his own stunt, which is cool, but they're not exactly memorable, and they're not that long, and the fight scene just wasn't that incredible to begin with. But The Shadow's Edge, like every single action sequence in this movie are actually memorable, and they are well choreographed, they're well edited. You feel like the adrenaline when you are watching this movie. Jackie Chan is obviously still amazing. He's still doing his own stunt, and they actually hire a lot of like new talents to perform their martial arts sequence, and then when they were fighting Jackie Chan, it was absolutely amazing. I was so into this movie because the action sequences are long and amazing, and yeah, it was great. There is even a final fight scene with Jackie Chan, which is like, wow, I did not expect that, because like Jackie Chan movies sometimes they do have a final fight scene, and if they were amazing, obviously like Drunken Master 2 still have like the best final fight scene between Jackie Chan and Ken Lo. This movie, the final fight scene between Jackie Chan and Tony Kafai was absolutely amazing, and it was brutal to watch that because this movie is very bloody in a sense. There's a lot of stabbing in this movie, and it was brutal, man, and it was like absolutely insane. I also love the characters as well. I think they are likable. The story are good because this, with this big movie, it's easy to be like super convoluted. The story could be super convoluted, and there is some convoluted part of the storyline, but for the most part they try to keep it simple, where it's Jackie Chan's group try to capture the Shadow organization, which is like, yeah, it's a really, really fun watch because the movie has a lot of action sequence, and it was just like non-stop on the second half of it, because in the beginning there is an amazing action sequence as a opening, which is great, but there is a lot of in the middle section of the movie where it's just like a bunch of downtime, with the characters, and you spend a lot of time with them. And I enjoyed the characters relationship, and I think this movie also kind of maybe was inspired by Police Story 2, because like Jackie Chan's group is basically trying to do like a surveillance on the Shadows group. And when they are doing their surveillance, this remind me of Police Story 2, where Jackie Chan and his team is trying to surveillance or like following the three bombers in that movie. So this movie feels like a modern version of Police Story 2, at least in this plot point, where they try to do a surveillance and try to tail the bad guys, which I absolutely loved it. It was entertaining, and yeah, overall, it's just like a really fantastic and really, really fun movie. The bad guys is absolutely insane. Like tonykafaileung is like scary in this movie, because in the beginning they tried to make him scary, and I was like, I wasn't buying it, because he was an old man. And my god, I was not aware to see how badass he was in the action sequence, because like you thought the scene is going to do like one way with his counter, but it goes completely to the opposite direction and kind of make him like the badass, to the point that you actually feel like he's actually feels scary, because no matter how much you punch him, you stab him, he just refuses to die. He always gonna get back up and he's gonna kick your ass. And it was absolutely amazing. And again, the final fight scene between Jackie Chan and Tony Leung in this movie is just brutal. I love it. I was like even worried for Jackie Chan there, because oh my god, like, is he gonna die, in the final scene? It was like amazing, But besides all this amazing stuff, I would say that this movie is not perfect, because there is some plot elements that I think is too similar here, because this movie has like the daughter characters, played by Ji Fang Zhang, her character's name is Hei Chiu Kuo, I think, and Jackie Chan's name is Wong Tak Chung, and Wong and Chiu Kuo basically are uncle and nephew, I guess you could say that. And this relationship feels very familiar. I noticed it in the modern Jackie Chan movies. Like Jackie Chan has this like obsession for having like he has a strained relationship with his daughter, on every single movie that I watched, from Right On, from Hidden Strike with John Cena, even from The Shadow's Edge, even though he was an uncle in this movie, like it was very similar to the previous movies, where he has to regain this relationship with his daughter. And I think that might have something to do with his real life daughter, that you might not know. You can look it up on the internet, and it was like so messed up, to see what Jackie Chan did to his daughter. I was really wishing that this movie doesn't have that similar plot point again, where Jackie Chan has a strained relationship with a daughter-like characters, and then he has to regain this relationship again. I'm just like, we did this so many times in the modern Jackie Chan movies, and we did it again in Shadow Edge, But I will say this, even though it was actually very familiar to the previous movie, this movie is actually felt it feels like the best version of those type of storyline, because the previous storytelling was just like not really there. It kind of feels forced, that it feels like the characters need to be having a drama, and it just feels like, yeah, it doesn't feel natural. But in this one, it's actually okay. He has a good backstory, and then the daughter character actually has a good development in the movie, because in the beginning I don't find the daughter character to be likable at all, because he was so grumpy, he was so angry, and there is a reason for it, and I think he has a good reason. But I was like, oh my god, like, is this gonna be her entire character in the movie? Because I don't like that. But there is a development early on in the movie, that actually makes sense, and it does develop their relationship sooner, and I actually found it to be believable, and she became a likable character in the end. So at the end of the day, even though that I criticized that it was a very similar plot point from Jackie Chan movies, I was like, okay, this is something that is the best version of that, But I also want to criticize, besides that, I want to criticize that some plot point, with the bad guys kind of feels a bit convoluted, especially in the second half, where it's like sometimes they do like a bunch of flashback, showing that the twists and turns of things, and there is like multiple characters that have a different agenda, and it kind of hard to like follow some of them in some capacity, because I was like watching the movie and I was like, okay, like what is happening, like what is this character's goal, and what is the second character's goal, and how are they connecting? It's just like sometimes you get a bit convoluted in a way, so you have to really pay attention to what the characters are saying. And normally that's a good thing, but this is a Chinese movie, and sometime in China the movie has a really fast talking, so you have to really read the subtitle really, really fast, because the actors just read the line really fast, and sometimes those lines are exposition line, and there's a lot of exposition in this movie, so you have to really pay attention to every single dialogue, I would say. And sometimes they could get a bit much to some people, and yeah, sometimes the plot could get a little bit convoluted, but I will say this though, at least the entire movie feels simple enough to follow. It's just that sometimes the bad guy's plot point could get a little bit convoluted. So that part was like, okay, I'm sure. And there's a twist in the end of the movie that makes me eye roll so much, because I was like, oh my god, you're doing this because you wanted to do a sequel, which I'm all in for it because this movie is amazing. But the twist in the end, I was just finding that so unbelievable, and I was like, oh my god, you're doing this? Okay. Okay, that is like very cheesy, and I was like, oh, I like the entire theaters when they see like the twist in the end, like they're grown, man. Like all of them just like, oh, like really, this is the twist? Okay. Like to be fair, they did plan the twist early on in the movie, but I'm still like, okay, come on, man, really, can you came up with like a better reveal by the end of the movie instead of like doing this for the sake of sequel? Like, come on, man. And also one more thing that I want to criticize is actually, again, I love tonykafaileung in this movie. He was such a badass, but there is a lot of point where I have to suspend my disbelief because he's an old man. He's like 67, and he was able to kick a lot of ass, And if Jackie Chan kick a lot of ass, then it makes sense for him. But even then, there is some vulnerability with his counter. But I feel like Tony Leung's counters in this movie, like sometimes it's a bit more unbelievable. So how a lot of people are just like getting fucked up by his like martial arts skills, with his knife skill. And I'm just like, how do you survive this fight? And how do you survive this like big event that happens in the movie? Like, how do you survive all of that? To the point I'm just like, oh my god, this guy just like won't stop. Like, no matter how much you beaten him, he's just gonna get back up and he's gonna be completely fine, and he's going to kick your ass. Never mind that he's like a 67 years old man and he's going to kick your ass no matter how old you are. And it's just like, wow. Again, it makes me love the character because it was such a badass, but I do have to suspend my disbelief, because some stuff that happens in this movie was a bit more over the top, especially with Tony Leung's character, that I'm just like, okay, like, how do you survive that? But okay, sure, I know, I get it why they survived, because like they wanted to make Tony Leung to be a complete badass in this movie, and they did. I found them to be scary and completely badass, So I guess he did the job, but I have to suspend my disbelief, But either way, this movie also has two endings. Yes, like the movie ended like two times in the end there. Then I'm just like, okay, well, is this the end? Nope, it's still continuing. Oh, is this the end then? No, it's still continuing. I'm like, oh my god. This movie is literally the end of like Lord of the Rings, where it just keep going and going and going, to the point that, okay, how many times this movie has ended, to the point that they still escalating again, and that's what this movie feels like, where the pacing in the end, where it feels like a bit more jarring, where I thought that the movie is going to end, but it's still going. We still have like, oh, 30 minutes left. Okay. So there's that. But either way, guys, like I said before, this is still the best modern Jackie Chan movie. I have such a fun time. The performances are good. The story are interesting. The characters are interesting enough. And the action is obviously the main thing that people wanted to see. And I am happy to report that the action sequences are absolutely amazing. Jackie Chan has a lot of fight scenes, and it's great. Also, there is a bunch of new talents in the movie as well, and they have their own action sequence, and they are also great. And I think larryyang does a good job with this movie, and there is a sequel tease in the end, so I am so happy they decided to do a sequel, even though that the twist doesn't just makes me eye rolling, but I like the fact that there is gonna be a sequel to this movie, because it is such a good movie and such a fun time. This is the best Jackie Chan modern movies, so please, guys, watch this movie on theaters. If it does play on your local theaters, then please go watch it. If you guys are a big fan of Jackie Chan and you are coming here to see the action sequence, then yes, this movie is for you. And I think you guys will come out satisfied to see how amazing the action sequence was. I don't know about the storyline and some of the characters. Maybe some people like them, some people don't. But in terms of the action sequence, I am confident that you guys will love it, because it was brutal and it was actually long. And it was actually really creative action sequence. It wasn't just like, oh, Jackie Chan doing fight scene and then like it was over, because like a lot of the modern Jackie Chan movies kind of did that. But I think The Shadow's Edge was able to create an interesting fight scene with Jackie Chan, to the point I was like, wow, it feels like I'm watching like the older Jackie Chan movies. It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, that's my opinion, guys, and my review for The Shadow's Edge. I'm hoping like that larryyang can make a sequel in the future. But either way, guys, let me know, guys, in the comment section below if you guys already watched The Shadow's Edge. Then what do you guys think about the movie? Do you guys agree with my opinion that this is the best modern Jackie Chan movies? Let me know your opinions in the comment section below, and also let me know your opinion, which one is your favorite action sequence, because for me it's like I have a lot of favorite action sequence, to be honest, and maybe the final fight scene for me kind of stand out, so that's my favorite sequence, so, but either way, let me know, guys, your opinions and your favorite action sequence in the comment section below. And, if you guys enjoyed this video, then make sure, guys, shoot and punch that subscribe and like button, share the videos, this sort of stuff, and stay tuned for more movie reviews in the future. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed this movie review, and I will see you guys in the next one then. Bye!